Hi, this is Susan. I want to tell you, I was going to wait on this, but I couldn't. I want to tell you about going to the Goodwill by the pound store. It was so exciting. Now, Queen City Minis tells us about this all the time. She gets things when she's making something. And so I thought, I've got to go by one of those stores. And I know that they have them. I knew that there was one where I used to live. And I kept seeing a sign. I didn't know that they had one just right around the corner. So, oh my gosh, this is so fun. But there's a lot of things I need to tell you if you find one of these, which you've got to find one. But be prepared, and I'm going to tell you the things you need to know in advance. Okay, so let's start looking. I didn't just get crafts, but that was what I intended to look for the most. And when I walked in the door, most of the people, there was a lot of people too. They were pouring over the clothes. So it was easy to just pick the bins that weren't closed. And these bins are huge. They're like 4 foot by 6 or 8 feet. And so like you're taking it out of one bin, all the big stuff, tossing it into the one next to you and trying to get to the bottom to the crafts. Okay, so I got this. This is actually local. This is like not far away. So it's just a nice cup like a Yeti or something. And it only has a few scratches, I imagine, from the experience of going through those bins. Because the one thing, the one thing is there is broken glass. Because they have everything. You just can't imagine until you just look at your first bin what it's like. And Queen City Mini doesn't even begin to tell you what it's like. And so I want to tell you there's old stuff and there's brand new stuff and everything in between. This right here is a brand new, as far as I can tell, it's an antenna for a TV, and it's got a booster. See, it's got the booster that goes with it that you screw. And I know I paid for this, and it's even got the connector. I paid for this. And it was $35. Okay, so by the pound, when you first walk in, there's a sign up on the wall there by the register. And I asked the lady, I was like, how does this work? And she told me and kind of pointed at the sign. And so what she was trying to tell me, I got it at the end, was it's $1.99 a pound to start with. Now, this was something else. Let me tell you about this, but look, brand new. There's a lot of Dollar Tree, brand new stuff there. So what she was telling me was up to a certain pound, it's $1.99, then it drops to $1.79. So you almost want to take your stuff like in a tote or something and weigh it somewhere along the way so you get an idea of where you're at. Okay, so I did notice, oh, and also I wore a white t-shirt. Don't do that. Wear your oldest clothes. You definitely want to wear old clothes. That's the first thing. Because you're leaning up against those bins. And you might want gloves. I saw a lot of broken glasses. And, and children are there. And the children are digging in for the toys and stuff. And it shocked me that there was broken glass everywhere. So you might want to wear gloves. Heavy duty would be hard to move things, but maybe smaller, thinner gloves. I don't know. Just, it's up to you. But definitely, you're going to get tired because you're reaching, you're bending, you're stooping, you're moving constantly. So, and you're standing at times. So, take a snack and take something, in a container like you can put in your purse, like a bottle, with something to drink. They have tables. They have chairs. People go and take time out and they go through their basket, which is really smart. So don't go at the end of the day. I went 4 o'clock, and that was really late for my first time because I didn't get out of there until the last person because I didn't know what I was doing. And it showed, and I have learned. In one trip, I've learned all these things. So find the store that's the Goodwill by the pound because there's tons of Goodwills that are just Goodwills. And oh my gosh, everybody loves Goodwill and they drop their stuff there. And so there's so much Goodwill stuff compared to other thrift stores. I just bought this just bought this at Dollar Tree. I'm telling you, I just bought it. I got some of these. I don't know if I got this polka dot one, but I was thinking about doing red, white, and blue and like adding some color to it because we're doing the 250th here in the United States. And so I was thinking that would be cute if I could add, you know, red and blue dots to it. Okay, this whole basket was down underneath stuff because I didn't have enough time to like go back through anything because I'd gotten this and I was going to go plug it in, see if it worked, see if I wanted it, all this stuff I was going to see. Do I really want this? But of course, I got something big and all the other stuff I got was piled on top. I didn't even mean to have this basket. I meant for this just to hold the stuff and then I was going to toss the basket back into a bin. So now I own the basket. So it's amazing. It's amazing, this whole thing. Okay, so here is a 10,000 hour live. I don't know if it works. I haven't plugged it in because I just wanted to show you everything. Because you will make mistakes unless you listen to me and you pay attention to what I'm telling you. You'll make mistakes. Now, I don't know if this works, but it's brand new in the box. I would think. I don't know. It looks brand new. It doesn't look burned out. So we'll see if it works. Okay, here. This is, like I said, I just didn't even know what I was doing. I was just grabbing stuff. So I thought, you know, in a couple of hours I would get tired and I would start looking through my stuff because I saw people sitting and looking through their baskets. Okay, so I met this lady and she tells me how to do this. She was really nice and she was an immigration lawyer for children. Thought that was pretty interesting and praised her for doing that job, you know, because we hear about that. So she travels a lot. So she goes to these by the pound places and knows how it all works. So she was telling me when you walk in, don't go to the first bin like I did and only made it to half the store in 3 hours. It's that big. It's a warehouse. It's that big. And nobody was in my way. It was just moving stuff around, trying to get under to the craft stuff. And so she says, go to the back of the store where people dump stuff. I was like, oh, that's genius. You know, start at the very back of the store and move forward and take a snack, you know, and sit down along the way because you're going to poop out. Okay, so this, I thought, well, I hope it works because I'm stuck with it. Hear it? It works. Now, the next thing I've got to scald this in case somebody actually used it. But I was thinking, like, maybe I can buy these. Anybody who knows that answer, please tell me. Can you buy the extender part, you know, the brush part? Because I don't want to really use somebody's old brush. It looks brand new, though. I mean, it doesn't look used. I would have not gotten it. But it works. So it comes with... This has got some kind of battery. It comes in with the charger. And so my dentist told me to get this the other day. And so I'd forgotten that he told me to get it till I saw this there. And there's all kinds of, I mean, there's just no rhyme or reason. They just dump everything into any bin that they can. And this lady was telling me that they have rules about when the bin comes out, they try to clear an entire row of bins. And when they come out, you're not allowed to run up and, you know, and converge on it. You have to be respectful. So I was like, oh my gosh, people must be just chomping at the bit. So this is Dollar Tree. I've bought this before. Oh my gosh, because I was in big crafts before I came back to miniatures. And so I actually bought this at Dollar Tree. So I bought a couple more. I don't know if I need them. But I know that all the ladies that were doing big crafts, my next door neighbor was and everything, they were chomping at the bit to get some of this stuff. So I figure I can give it away if worse comes to worse because everybody likes to decorate their doors and stuff. So now this it says 73 cents. So this is just off-colored string, but I didn't know if it was string or for crocheting or string for... but it's pretty small. But I always use string, so I thought I'll definitely use it in the house or in the crafting. Because I actually have a project that I keep meaning to give you. It's a couple of months old, and I just don't get to doing it. I keep coming up with other things. Now this, I've wanted to make a doll. And I'm working up to making a doll. And so I saw where they were using that stretchy, I don't know what it's called, but where you get shots and then they bandage you up with the stretchy stuff. And I kind of thought this was the stretchy like that. It's a little bit different, but I was thinking I'd cut it in strips. It is very thin. This is not Ace bandage stuff. This is thinner than that. And so I was thinking I could cut this into strips and wrap the doll body once I put the cotton on. So these, I have no idea what these are. But after I got them home, I was thinking, because I didn't, I meant to go through this. After I got them home, I realized that all of these, my booms that I film with, all have sponge to clamp onto the tables, and the sponge kind of starts getting flat and kind of not useful. So there it is. I have new sponge replacement. Yay! Okay, this had some wonderful texture. Now some of these things I just grabbed because you just have to grab and then move on, and then, because people will be looking at you like, are you finished yet? This little girl came up and she's like reaching in front of me. Her mom was having to tell her in Spanish that she couldn't, reach in front of me, that I was there first. And it was, bless her heart, felt so bad for her that, because she wanted toys, like I was looking at toy stuff. And so I was just handing her stuff. And because I felt like, a child needs it more than I need it. But so this is texture. I don't know, what it's got texture-y, interesting on both sides. I guess this is a Lego piece. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then I got this. I was wondering about cutting its head off and making a wall mount. It might be too small, but not for somebody else's build. And, who knows what's in the future. And then I saw this. This reminds me of those worry stones. It's a carved cross. And you know how they had worry stones that you'd sit and some people fidget, and so you fidget with it. And that's just what it reminds me of, is you put it in your pocket, or, and you just fidget with it. If you have something to pray about, sit there and pray about it and fidget with it. And so, I don't know, I could use it in a craft too. So here's one of the little plastic. I assume this is like a Barbie something, but I thought I can make it into a suitcase because I saw where Gretchen had made, see, it's just a little case. She had made, taken pill boxes and made some overnight cases. Now, this is funny because I made some of the little stiff bears that I made out of the chenille stems, and I gave them to the ladies at Allergy, where I get my shots, and they all loved them. They just roared about them. So I was looking the other day to see, they had them up on their shelf, and they have a little toy collection. And they said that people leave toys all over the clinic where I go. It's, one of those big clinics that's all in one stop, like you're there for your car. And so they said they get toys all over the clinic. And so I thought, I'm going to leave them some toys. So I got that toy to leave them on the chair. So here's like a little bottle. It's cute little, I don't know what it was, but can always use it for something. Now, $1.99 a pound, you would think that's nothing. It does add up. But I guess, y'all tell me what you think, because I do have a lot of stuff. I was trying to think, what did I get that I particularly was extremely happy about? And I haven't, I'm glad to have the electric toothbrush. I'm glad to have that. Okay, so here is some little string. This, just a little thing. They had a bigger thing, but it was wrapped on this cardboard that I would be paying for the cardboard. But this is, do have a bag of this stuff, so I used it on the purses. If you've seen my binder clip purses, I use all the trims. So you use it in other things. So anyway, so this, I didn't mean to get this, but of course, I think this maybe was in the inside of a salad, those salad washer things where they spin, the salad spinners. Might be something like that this fit inside of it. But it does have, use for putting like like this. I have a lot of, these with different colors for making doilies and stuff. So I figured that, yeah, I can use that, even though I didn't mean to buy it. I was just grabbing something to hold stuff. So let's get rid of this. And, oh, this was, the other thing I found is, like, you might find like a whole bag of these. But see, this is an interesting size, so I grabbed it because it's wood. And so I was looking for a particular size the other day. So, oh my gosh. And what I'm showing you was about $30. So keep that in mind. It was I spent $50, but two things I got. One was really big. It's a wedge pillow. And I was just looking at wedge pillows. The doctor was telling me that I might have this thing, and I really think she's onto something. Some of y'all know I have a heart issue. And so she might have been onto something that she said, elevate your head so you don't have, I think it's called GERD or something. And so it might be knocking, the acid knocking against my heart or something, causing it to act up. Anyway, long story. Here I find the wedge pillow, and that was like $35, $40 or something for one of these big wedge pillows that's covered, nicely covered. And I found that very first thing. And so I was like, wow, I was just looking this up. Like, okay, so here's something. I found a whole bag of these. Oh, and I realized I don't need the whole bag, and somebody else might need some of them. So I'm just going to get a few of them. So here I got some. Crafty Nita sends me some stuff, and I wanted to show you what she sent me. So I'm going to send her some things. So, things to make crafts with. So these are kind of big. I did, let's see, these are, well, they're a little bigger than 2.5. But I was thinking, like, they'd be cute for doing some gnome something, or who knows, make a little table for outdoors. I don't know. Cute. Okay, so I saw that somebody had made, it was Miniature Addiction. She had made like the Jurassic Park entrance thing. And so I was like, oh, that's so cute. I want a dinosaur. I don't know, dinosaurs just appeal. They are just kind of cool. I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but, you never know. You got to have a dinosaur in your life. So, okay, these are labels. If I can't use them for little bottles or something, I can definitely use them for my tubs because my tubs are not labeled. Okay, so this donkey is $112. And I thought, how funny that I might want a donkey somewhere on the property of my dollhouse. Yeah, never know. Okay, so this was actually threaded. Now, the other day, I had to go into looking for my sewing box so I could thread just a little, just to put a button back on my nightgown. So I said, I'm just going to keep this out all the time. It's already threaded. And, who doesn't need white thread? So, okay, so this, I was looking at this just for the beads. I was thinking, I don't have any beads like this small. Now, I can wear it till I need... I guess I can wear it till I need the size of the bead. Like the top, I was doing the top of the potting table, and I was like looking for just the right size bead to put up on the top of it. And so there's a little plastic bracelet, plastic bead. It looks like turquoise, kind of plasticky turquoise, but cute. And you can cut those off. You can. What's good about getting jewelry is, I'll have to show you this bracelet I have. It's like the best reason to get jewelry from a thrift store. You get a few of these color beads and you mix them in and you do like 3 strands. This bracelet is 3 strands and it's just a mix of all different kinds of beads, but you need like 3 of this, 2 of this. So getting something like that, you can just throw those in. Okay, so in the summer I always like put a little something out that's summery, so I thought, yep, he's just perfect for the summer, for some little summer thing that I do. Okay, so I've never had one of these things, And there was a couple of interesting things. Like this suctions, and I saw where Queen City made a light out of the suction cup. Like a work light, like a garage or something. So I bought that to make the work light that she did. And these are just hooks. I've never used one of these, but they're supposed to, brand new. These were in packaging, but I didn't want to pay for the packaging, so I just pulled them out of the paper. So these go somehow on here, which I hope I don't need the instructions. That would have been kind of silly. But they go on there somehow and then stick onto the wall, or stick onto the wall and then go, I don't know, I've got 2 of them to figure it out. So now this was several pieces, and I kept wanting to get the whole thing, and then I saw this one piece was not connected, and so I just bought it. But look, I bought these lights from Temu that do 3 different things, and I put them in one of my stores. So I liked them. I don't need all the, extras. I just needed them to turn on and off. But blinky. And what the thing I was looking at was a stand for jewelry, and it's like it had the blinky thing that they had put on it to get it to stand out, to call attention to it or something. They'd put the light inside of the tube. And so anyway, the tubing I got just because we use tubing all the time on things. And I have the light. I can take it off the tubing. And then there's a little bell. I could use that at Christmas. And there's some lace I could use. And I don't know, this is kind of dirty. I don't know that I'd use it too much, but for, probably a quarter or something, or 10 cents. I guess 10 cents. It was probably, I guess I ought to turn it off. Won't be any good. That was, like I said, you don't want to get like the whole bag of something unless you're sure you can use it. And it's funny because I even found scissors, and at one point I was like, oh, I could cut something. I could cut something off of some, like ribbon, cut some ribbon off and just buy the ribbon. And nobody tells you can't do anything, so I probably could. Now, these are brand new. These were Dollar Tree. There's lots of Dollar Tree stuff, I noticed. People love to shop at Dollar Tree, and they love to buy, everything that is there for that season, and then they don't use it all, especially when it comes to, like, kids, in the summertime. Moms just want to grab up, a whole bunch of stuff for the kids to be entertained and have stuff to play with, or they're doing a project, they don't know quite what they're going to use, and they just grab up a whole bunch of stuff. There was 3 of these, so they didn't use them in whatever project. And so I was like, I might have used all of mine up. So, like I said, I can always share with somebody. Okay, I wanted Valentine cards to give to my neighbors, and just, stick, you might put a little piece of chocolate in it or something, just something cute, or put some the confetti. I sent a friend a card one year with confetti, Christmas. It was like snowflakes or something. And he wrote me back, he emailed or texted me back. He goes, "Thanks a lot. You could have said open outside." And apparently he dumped the whole envelope full. So after that, I started writing open outside. And then it kind of defeated the purpose of they don't get the surprise. They were forewarned that you've put confetti inside their card. So I had some heart confetti. So I'll have this for next year. And they're brand new. They're brand new. That's something. Okay, another one of these. So I will have to share those. And this is somebody's mortgage company. And I'm sure I have enough of these, but I don't have one in my craft supplies. So I'm definitely going to need this for when I'm doing videos. I need to have that sitting next to me. Okay, this is, speaking of things I wanted, I went to buy some more candy canes for my wreath at Christmas, and they had already sold out of the candy canes. And these were expensive. These were not cheap even at Hobby Lobby. And but they weren't on the aisle anymore when they went, I don't know, it was 60 or 70% off. And it still was before Christmas, but it was like the, day before. It was like the 23rd or something. So look at these. I got 4 of these, and I can take them apart. You can take, I can take them apart to use one. I don't have to use them all together like in a floral arrangement. I'm just going to use them on my wreath. Or I could take, one of them or 2 of them apart and then use the other 2 in a floral arrangement. So plenty. I got 4. And they have bells. Yay! So I was real excited about that because I'm doing that bright green and elfy look. It's all elf stuff. So kind of moving into the elf zone. Okay, I found these were some kids' things that stuck. Like they had vegetables. I don't know what these were supposed to be, donuts or something. But they're round, and I was like, I can use those. Okay, so I found this. Well, I guess I bought more than this was literally a big bag. It really was a big bag of these, and so at least I didn't buy that many. So I got this thinking, when you go to heat up wax or something, you could use one of these little, little things to heat stuff up, to melt the wax. I don't know, I don't know if I'll use it, but it's good for craft. It's good size for craft. Looks like a swimming pool, doesn't it? You could use it for a kid's swimming pool project. Okay, so I debated on this. So I guess I did buy it. So it looks like it's pretty new. It's got a lot of needles in it. So just a little thing of needles. Now, here's a case where you're paying for the container, and that weighs more than the needles. So you have to think, because this is funny. I thought back on everything, because I wanted to write notes and tell y'all, okay, so on the ribbons, any ribbon, take the ribbon off of the spool unless you're going to use the spool. And there was tons of ribbon spools there without any ribbon. And I thought, well, that's smart of people. They took the ribbon off. So this is a case where you're paying more for the plastic. And so some things you'll know that people thought they were good, but they overlooked them because the container, takes up more. Okay, so here's like a little treasure chest. And I have a project where I need this treasure chest for Halloween. And here's some little birds that I was thinking, I wish I had different shaped birds because, you get squirrels or birds and they're always the same shape. There's no nothing different about them. So these are all different. There's some different. Like this one's wings are down and this wings are up. And so I could probably heat one of them and change the wings a little bit. So that was cool. I'm glad I got that. And that looks, close to 112. Okay, so here's another little purse. I can make a little makeup bag or something for one of the dolls, paint it. Now, Queen City Minis, she said, anytime you're using plastic, to wipe it down really good with alcohol. So I'm going to take that advice, thank you, and do that before I try to paint them. This one was rubbery. This came out of a whole package. Now, again, we're paying by the pound. So I took it out, and I was looking at it for the bowl, and it has this weird little inset thing that this sticks to, and I thought, I was going to take that out and leave that behind, but because it didn't really look like realistic food to me. I don't know, it's some kind of sushi kind of a container. It had like 4 or 5, it's an eraser, and it was 4 or 5 different sushi things. But then I thought, that's good to have a platform so that you don't waste, space there setting something if I see they come out. So even if I change it to something else, I'll have the thing that it's on, stuck into, I'll have it to glue to. Anyway, so like I said, you just grab stuff, and there's a little dog bone, little tiny bone, and some of these things I think, I can mold them. If there wasn't, like these wheels, here's a little bird, little parrot. I hit the mother lode of this one little corner of a huge bin and had all this little stuff. And then that little girl came up and she was like reaching. And I was like, oh no, how did she know? How did she know that I hid all these toys? Because I had to move everything. So she was walking around between the people looking for what they were moving so that she could, stick her hand in there and grab some little toy things. She was smart cookie. So I have a houseboat kit. I'm thinking I need to get working on that one for the summer. I've had it for years and never put it together. So, and when I saw this, I was like, I have that. I know where it is. I'm going to do it. Oh, here's a little, I think it's a skunk. I'm not sure. Maybe it's a badger. Anyway, it's close to 1/12. So, and here's a little deer that it's small, but it's cute. And I was thinking, I had a little deer in my Christmas store, so this would be like a cute little table deer to put a wreath on it and a bell or, ribbon stuff to make it for Christmas. Now here was some little, I guess, food, drink containers. This looks like a baby bottle. I'm not really sure. It looks kind of more like the Victorian era baby bottle, the nipple part. So that's kind of interesting. Little knife for the Halloween project. So I'm going to put that in with this. So I have those together because I didn't get time to get to that Halloween project. Anyway, so I'm going to hopefully do that. Here's a little pick. So I'm going to put that in the yard. It's my dollhouse yard. If you thought, I'd love to have a yard, but I've never, made the effort to make a platform or whatever. I get just as much joy out of making things for my yard as I do for the inside of the dollhouse. And after you've filled up the inside of your dollhouse like I have, then you have the yard. You have the yard to go to. So I really want to encourage you, if you've ever wanted to do a yard, just get a, inexpensive, either get a library table. Those are perfect. Library tables are wider, so that's perfect for using, for putting, as a platform. Either get that or just get an old piece of wood and then buy this real cheap slits. They're slats. They're real skinny slats they use for getting a door into plumb. And so you ask for those. Don't buy trim. The decorative trim is going to cost you a lot more money than these little shims. They're just like little shims. Okay, so I got these because it seems like I every so often need a marble. Like the gazing ball that I showed you that was a wood turning and a gazing ball. So that would be pretty for a gazing ball or the blue. So anyway, I grabbed some of those to share. And now this one, I thought this was interesting because this probably came out of a game. And I thought, if I cut this in half, I have 2 bottles. Look at that. That'll be, at least this one's already got a flat surface. This one's rounded, so I might need to do something to flatten it out, either sand it off and flatten, put it on trash plastic or build up with some clay or something. But then I have this it looks like a hat to me, use it for something. And then I have the tube I can cut to make a canister. So you got to put your thinking cap on. That turned out to be a really good find. And even the sand. I can put sand in the glue and use the sand for texture. Okay, so I just made some potted stuff. And so I was like, oh, I wish I'd found these before because they're kind of tulipy, they're a little bigger, but I can use those and paint them, So this was an eraser of sorts, it looks like, but it also looks like it's for a snow cone or an ice cream cone. If you use that for the stability, put a piece of clay over, air dry clay or something, or spackle. You can use spackle for making ice cream, unless you want to use air dry clay. And then some people also use toilet paper sheets with gluey water. Okay, so this looks like the base of a mannequin or a dress form. Yeah, dress form. So I grabbed that. It's a little small, but I know that, like Queen City, this is why Queen City does the small stuff. I'm convinced that's why. This is what led to all of her small bills, was getting this stuff at the Goodwill by the pound. Okay, so I'm always like sharpening my pencils, so I grabbed one of those. Here's a little kitty cat. Isn't that cute? Tiny little, small little kitty cat. And then this just looks so cute. Just grabbed, and this like a strainer. So I think I'm gonna have to make something modern, because this place is gonna make me want to buy all this modern stuff. Okay, so there's a hairbrush. And I found a bunch of flowers. And I've been trying to make rose stuff, rose vines for the outside of my dollhouse. So there's more in here, but anyway, I said here's a little camera. I was happy to find this. That's a good find. And it looks 1/12 scale. So yay. And for the boys' room, that's cute. For the boys' room, like a little toy. Okay, so this might be the thing that really made this trip. This looks expensive too. I'm not sure, but this is a drawing compass. And I have one, but it's missing. I don't know, I think it was always missing stuff. And it's missing one side of it. And so, wow. Gosh, I probably shouldn't have opened that like that. I think that's the piece that fell. But, so you're supposed to be able to put a pencil, and I assume this is for being some kind of a guide, that you put this and somehow it guides. But anyway, it's because the other one doesn't have, oh, that's got lead in it. That's what it is. So here's the pen and here's the lead. So mine didn't have the full arm for the lead. And so I was just using it in my clay stuff to poke. So anyway, here's a full one that's nice and has the attachments. And even, I don't know, it has this. So I'll have to look up what these different things are for. So this must go up in. So this was a good find. You know, and the other thing is, bigger towns, if you have like a college town where there's one of these, you're going to get a lot of stuff that college students get rid of. I have a friend, it's been a while, but he's like a genius. He's like really smart, and he works on these projects, but he's all about recycling, and he works on projects to make things to recycle. But it's his pet peeve that in Austin, that all the students throw stuff in the dumpsters. I mean, it's a real pet peeve of his. So he goes into these dumpsters at the time when they are all, getting out of their dorms, and he pulled stuff out, and he was giving me craft supplies, like brand new paint sets, brand new paints, brand new stuff. Because these kids, they don't value $1. And so I was shocked. And I was taking him up to this place where I was volunteering to teach how to do different crafts. And so we were using them for free. We didn't have to buy paint. We didn't have to buy paint brushes or pencils. Like I got some really nice, illustration pencils. So it was just great. What he was doing was a real service in a lot of ways. And I think, he could always give it to the creative reuse places too. So those are another thing. I've showed you a video on the creative reuse and how wonderful those are. But this is even cheaper. And the other thing, I have gone to the thrift store looking for fabric, and I've gotten men's shirts because most men's shirts are laundered, at the laundry, and they're real crisp looking. There's a lot of them like that, and you can get good fabric. And I've bought them to make clothing for my dolls. And I was realizing this place is even cheaper. And it's the same thing, same shirts and stuff. Okay, so here's a smaller guy. So I had the big guy, and so I got I know where the big one. So I thought, well, they kind of look like mother and son. I don't know. But I thought that was, cute. They had other dinosaurs, but I didn't have a plan for it. Oh, here's another one. This looks like the bottom to a chair, but I thought, I don't know, it could be more than that. It looks like or it could be the dress form bottom. So I grabbed it. These scissors, I was thinking, these look like Fiskars. So I grabbed them. And, I think I'm going to actually take them back in my purse. Because, like I said, there was this string that I could have gotten some of it, but I didn't need all of it, or ribbons, I could be getting some of a ribbon because it's by the pound. So, I can ask and see if that's okay with them. Like these pencils were in this huge bag of pencils. Well, I didn't need all those pencils, and I'm sure everybody thought, I don't want to buy the whole bag of pencils. So I just took out a few of the pencils because they're brand new. Because I always use them for drawing up my ideas and things. Okay, so this was it was wood. I don't know, it was some kind of toy, I guess. And there were several of them in a bag, so I just grabbed one in case I needed, like for a table or something, some pedestal. If you want to use this like for the center of a table, you can use paper on it to give it shape and form. Tiny View showed us how to do that. Okay, so I was looking there was this little put together puzzle thing, and it didn't have all its wheels, so I grabbed the wheels off of it because I thought nobody's going to buy it without all its wheels on it. So I did grab the wheels that were on it, and I need something that I want to make that's from the 50s, and I needed wheels. So you can use buttons as well. I really need spoke wheels for a couple of things. I found these. They looked okay, and I thought, well, if I need them to use them, I had thrown them in this container, but I use them for painting, so they looked brand new. But I thought maybe there was somebody's. I don't know if there was somebody's that was shopping, but I can use them for painting. Okay, the other day I was looking for hooks. I was asking my friend, do you have any big hooks? I need a big hook. Now I can't remember what it was I needed it for, but I needed it. And I kept asking him, and he was like, what is it you need? And I was like, a big cup hook, the big kind. Look at that. Now I just have to remember what it was I was making or doing. I don't know, but it'll come to me. But here it is, the big cup hook. I don't know what it was. As when you're crafting like this, you got a million things going through your head. So this looked kind of interesting to go on the top of something. So here I found all these little, here's a little cup. Cute little cup. See, Queen City Minis. This is why she does everything in miniature, tiny, tiny scale. Small, small scale. Because you can find all this stuff in the bottom of the bins. There's just bukus of it. Okay, here's a little toothbrush. So that's great. It's 1/12 scale. And this looks like a blunderbuss. I think it's the name of that kind of a gun. But I was thinking if I cut it off, then it would be, I don't know if this would, maybe this would work for a pirate. I was going to do for Halloween, I was going to do a pirate thing, now that I've told you. But you don't know what it is, so you'll still be surprised. Here's another one of those little cartons. Oh, this was this little planter. Now I've seen these little planters just like this that come off of Temu. So I'll have to make some clay flowers for it. So these were on the bottom. And I was thinking I'd take these and maybe use them, press them into a mold. And that way I'd make more of a bottom to them. I can make more because they're 1/12 scale size flowers, roses. So, or I can just put some clay in here and stuff them in here and put some leaves in them. Paint them up. I thought this was so cute. I wish I want to do my channel name on something. So I thought, well, if I could figure out how to like paint it on there or somehow, that would be really cute. So I can either drink out of this or put some tools in it or paintbrushes or something. So that's really cute. Okay, so this is a pipette. And I was like, oh, I wish I could find a whole bag of these pipettes because I used this for the stem. I used a little bit of resin for the base. And I used part of this for a cup, for a margarita cup or glass. I used just a bit of the pipette. Aside from it being useful for pulling up resin to put into your project. Those pipettes are real good. Okay, so there was a lot of COVID tests. I noticed that. There was a whole bunch of COVID tests. But I felt like we're not through with any of our... I have to wear a mask when I go to get my allergy shots because all the kids sit in there, especially in the summertime. That they come in, and since the measles is really high, we're not through, we're still having measles outbreaks, that I was like, yep, I'll take those because, there's a whole bag full. And we had to order them during COVID time stuff. So there's several here. There's at least 10. So that's cool. And this, I got the lid. I got 2 of these and the lids. And so these are shoe boxes, but they're going to be great because I have bigger tubs. And so, because we don't want our miniatures to like get squished down in the tub stuff, I put tubs inside of tubs. I put smaller tubs inside of bigger tubs so that my stuff doesn't get squished. Things that I make, you don't want, paper things and cardboard things to get squished or things to get scratched or so. That's what the good of getting. They had all kinds of tubs. I'll show you those that I got. So, yep, this was a good deal. This is one thing I'll have to see how it works, but I felt very, very fortunate to get this. And I want to check out the Austin store to see if my friend's correct about, all of the students dumping off stuff. I mean, they typically, like he said, they just throw it in the dumpster. They just want to be done with it. But I imagine a lot of them during, after a semester, do drop, carload. They've even gotten to where there's a drop-off station. So if they want to drop off furniture, then other students can go to that station and pick up furniture. I guess, the rich giving to the poor. And that's really smart. That's really a good idea. Because I went back to school after design. I went back for social work. So I'm all in favor of helping your fellow man. Okay, so now I spent like $30 on this. And, okay, I've been wanting to make a quilt. So I saw 3 different things, and I couldn't decide between them, so I bought all 3 because I figured I'm just paying so little. And I'm going to share some of this. Crafty Nita sends me stuff that she crafts with, and I'm going to send her some stuff that she crafts with to, she makes dioramas as well. And she takes children's playhouse things and paints them all up and changes them all and then fills them up with furniture and stuff. She's very creative. And if you haven't seen, she doesn't make things on camera, but she shows you everything that she does putting into one of her makes. And she just did a toy store, and it's so interesting because it's got 1980s toys. And so she sends me some things, and I'm going to send her some things back to give her things to craft with. So this is actually batting for a quilt. And it looks like they just opened the bag. That's it. Doesn't look like they used any of it. So I just wanted to make some small quilts. So there's plenty here. I don't think I'll get around to make it. I do have a friend that makes like big quilts, but I don't see that in my future. I tried making a quilt once, and you'd think it would be easy, but it's not. Okay, so this is Christmas. Well, no, this is batting, but sometimes you use this in the Christmas villages, which I can always use that batting in the Christmas village if I ever get it out. All my space is taken up with miniature stuff now and a new dollhouse. But this is a good size piece to try to, I wanted to see like on a quilt, and maybe somebody comment what, how quilts, I saw where somebody in miniature, you don't want it to stick out on the sides of the bed, and you don't really want to glue it to your wood. So I saw where somebody put foil in the layers so that they could shape it, like heavy duty foil, so they could shape it down, is one suggestion. And then I also saw where somebody put like aquarium sand or something so that it would give weight to the edges of your quilt. And so that's an option too, so that it comes down, and by the weight that sand will be on the sides if you don't want to just glue. Okay, so here is something cool. Now, if I had thought about the scissor thing, I might have just cut some of this off and not bought the whole spool of it. But this is really cool because I was looking and looking for fur. You can connect, a couple of pieces together to get a big room ruggy kind of thing going on, or put a head to it, make an animal head out of air dry clay or something, and make I don't know what animal, a bear or something, rug. And the other thing, in my toy store, I saw where I had the broom that sweeps, and it was using this little fur. I had just cut the tiniest little sliver of fur, and that was on the bottom of the broom, or not a regular broom, but the industrial kind that you sweep, large sections with. This was what they had put on the bottom of it to be the bristles. So I think there would be some good uses for this, because I was looking through my fabrics for something to go in my wizard's room. I did last Halloween. I did the castle room box, and so I ended up painting a rug to look like a skin. So I'm going to go back and try this and add that to that diorama. Okay, so this is pleather. There was orange color, but I was like, I didn't want to overload on this because this would work for a trunk. This would be great for a suitcase or a trunk. But it is pleather. It's got, the fabric. But this was thinner than the orange. The orange looked more like leather, but in some ways it looked like a pleather on one side and leather on the other. Not sure what was going on there. But I always see Quinn City. She takes it and she skins it, makes it thinner. So she's finding leather there. It looks like they almost took apart something to put it in the bins because it's got the holes in it. So that was nice to get 2 sheets of that. Now, I don't know what I'm going to use this for, but I've seen it used in Modern Dollhouse. You use it in the kitchen, cut a section to use for the drying rack. And I've seen it used for something else. So anyway, I thought, well, it'll come up in the video, and then I'll know, I'll know what to use it for. And then this too, I think this was used, this is that hard plastic grid, and I think this was used for a pot. A strip of it was cut and used for a pot. See, it's hard plastic, but again, it could be used in a modern setting. Okay, so I almost put this back, and It's a yard of this fuzzy material. And I thought, well, I use this with the dogs. I always use this in the dog beds. And, and I didn't go early, but they bring out bins all the time. So like they were bringing out a bin at the end of the day that would be there for the new people that came the next day. So I think they're constantly changing out and adding to the bins and not everybody's looking for the same thing. Like I said, most people were looking for clothing. And my craft stuff, there was still plenty to look for. And I only got through half the store in 3 hours. And I was really tired. The next day, I just curl up and watch TV. I was just so tired. My whole body hurt from standing on that concrete. So that's another thing is wear old clothes, take some snack and definitely something to drink, and know that you're going to stand on concrete. So wear really good spongy shoes and even compression socks, would be a good idea. And then if you can leave your purse or just take your money, you don't want the purse hanging on. That's just extra weight. And then some gloves, if you think you'll need gloves. I know that there was a lot of broken glass. There was several of glasses broken in those bins. And so I just, because people take the frames, they take the glass out of the frame, so they just get the frame by itself for craft purposes, whatever. I was looking at that to do the room boxes because I showed you how to do a frame into a room box. And so I wouldn't want to buy although I did buy this piece of cardboard. This, because it's good and sturdy and it's, we use cardboard on projects, I did go ahead and buy this piece that was there. Because I always take them off the back of binders and things, I'll take them. So I did buy this, but they were taking the glass out. So the glass pieces were all in every bin from frames. So I don't know what they do in place of them. Maybe they're just crafting with them. Anyway, so this would be great for the dog bed, for dog use, or for the quilt. So I have 3 choices of what to make my quilt with. Okay, so we're getting close. We're getting close to this was a bunch of grid paper. And when I'm getting my allergy shot, I have to sit there for 30 minutes to make sure I don't have a reaction. So I was like, this is good. I've got my pencils and I've got my grid paper so I can draw up ideas. Because I have a little notebook that I try to take and I write up ideas, but this I can actually draw them up. So I was glad to find that. Okay, so this is what I was telling you about. These are our grocery store that we have all over the Texas area. And so I don't know how much these end up costing, but these are great for my craft supplies because they're thinner than the shoe boxes. And so these will go inside of my other tubs are like, I don't know, 16 by 14 or something. So these will be great to go inside of there. And that helps you find stuff as well by not having it just all. And so then here's the other of these. Now these originally, I guess these were from Dollar Tree. They're $2.99 originally. And so that's not even a pound. So maybe I paid $1. So a third the price. And they're clean and they look new. So that's nice. Okay, so the one thing I was telling you, I got lucky on the toothbrush, the electric toothbrush that worked. I did get this bag. This bag says, it's a nice size bag. It says austinrecycles.com, which I was wondering what that was, what business that is, because I hadn't heard of it. Okay, so I got this. This looks brand new, and I thought, and I even asked about it. I was like, can I plug this in? The guy was like, it was late, and so I'm going to go back with this and see what their policy is about returns. And I'm going to tell y'all what their policy is if they don't let me return it. But as crafty as we are, I'm going to tell you, the light came on, and they might have plugged it in and saw the light came on, but it wouldn't shift and it never would heat up. So I don't know if I just am not doing it right. So I looked it up because it's brand new. It's a heating pad and it's brand new. And it might not have ever worked. It says, "Hello, Moto." But the thing is, if I'm stuck with this, here's the two things. There's a long cord here, and I used to buy things to make lamps, and I would rewire old lamps. And so I can cut this off and use this long cord to rewire a lamp. So there's one thing. And the other thing is I can buy one of these heating pads, and then I would, if it's just this part that doesn't work, then I'd have two of these parts. So if one played out, then I'd have the other one. I'm not sure what part of this isn't working. It doesn't seem to want to change on the setting. So anyway, I'm going to look it up and see. But I was going to go back because it's quite heavy because it, and I knew that when I talked to the guy. I said, I need to plug this in somewhere. He's like, no, we don't do that. You just take it as is. And so I was like, well, it looks brand new, but I think he was just trying to get people out at the end of the day. So I'm not sure if that's their policy. So here's my ticket. I'm going to take it back and see, because that's a good, I don't know, 3 to 5 pounds. Okay, so, I got a few more things in my lap. This is really cute. This is a Karen Scott vest, and it zips up. Zipper pockets, and zips up here. And they originally wanted $11 for it. And I think I probably paid, $2, $3 at the most, because it's not a pound, I don't believe. Now I have to find a way to, I have to find some scales. But really cute and clean and cute, and my size. And then the other thing I got was, I really didn't spend much time on the clothing in my 3 hours. Oh my gosh, it just goes so fast. But these were $6.99, and I'm sure I just paid $2 or something. They have a lot of elastic in them. They're like all lycra bike shorts. And so I thought I'd like these for a t-shirt to sit and craft, or put them over my swimsuit. And then this, I love these jackets. I was lucky to find these few things. This looks pretty new. It's a large size Tech Gear. So I think that's Kohl's. I'm not sure. I think Kohl's is Tech Gear, but maybe it sells. And so it's beautiful color, and it's just a hoodie. And I can wear it with my gray yoga pants. So nice pockets. Looks real clean. Smells real clean. Smells real flowery. So that was a good thing. And if I can't wear it, my neighbors would love it. So I give stuff to the neighbors. They have kids and everything. So that's all I got. But that was okay. This not included. I'm not including the heating pad that doesn't work, because, and then I'm not including the big wedge, because it's really large. I mean, it's this whole table surface. And so I spent $50, and so I figured that was a good 10 on each of those maybe. So I spent about $30 on the clothes and all the craft supplies and the bins and everything, and some scissors. So that was fun. That was fun. You really need to find one of these places to go and experience it. It might overwhelm you. It might be too much, but it was just so exciting. Now you know what Queen City Minis is talking about. And let me see if there was anything else I wanted to tell you. Oh, I figured out. So I spent I got 23.5 pounds. And that was including the two things that I'm saying, put it to $50 instead. So I'm taking off $20 because those were probably about $10 each in weight. But the cart that I was using weighed 47 pounds. And when I put it up there, I saw 23.5 flash, and then it jumped to 70. And I was like, wait a minute, I know I didn't buy 70 pounds worth of stuff. So she said, no, I've got to set the scale. So you don't take it out of the cart. And this is good on their part because you forget what all you have in there. And they want you to pay for it and go. They don't want you sitting there on the counter going, I'll take this, I'll take this, I'll take this, like we do at Hobby Lobby. And no, I want to put that back. No, I changed my mind on that. So they don't want you doing that. So they just weigh everything and they take off the amount of the cart. Well, the cart weighs 47 pounds. And so 47 from the 70 ended up being that 23. So the other thing is that at 25 pounds, it would have switched over to a lesser amount. So I kind of would have gotten, if you look at it that way, I kind of would have gotten some freebies. Some of it, because it would have cost less if I had just gotten a pound and a half more, which if it had not been closing, I would have definitely grabbed something. But, so better to go, earlier. Everybody was cleared out. They really cleared out fast. And the furniture is like priced of $14.99, I think is what this lady was telling me, of a piece of furniture. It's the same price. And then the books were priced, 4 books for $1 something. And then the cup, for some reason, was $1.29. They priced the cup separately. So I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, but it looked new. Didn't have any staining on the inside. So when you're looking at your weight, if you want to get that lesser price, then you need to go and weigh what you have, at some point. Just, when they're not busy, just ask them if you can weigh your bag full of stuff. So, if you want to go over to the 25 pounds and then get it for less per pound. And, okay, this is the other thing this lady told me. She said, towards the end of the day, people have their carts over on the side and they'll fill up a cart and then they'll go back and they'll shop some more. And she said, don't go pick anything out of other people's carts. They'll get really mad. And I said, oh, okay, good to know. And she said, but at the end of the day, they're going to go through their stuff. And I saw them doing that. And she said, at that point, you do want to go over and look because they've already done the work for you. And that's where she said, go to the back of the store because they're always dumping everything on the last bins in the back of the store when they're finished, the whole store. And she said people, like herself, they come from other cities. And so she came hours away. And so she said, at that point that, they've been there all day and they're going to go home. And so they just dump everything at the very back. And she said, it's already picked, like they've checked it for if it had holes in it or stains or whatever. So that kind of does some of the work for you. So that was really smart. So I know to start at the back of the store and look for things at the end of the day at the back of the store and over where the baskets people have gone through their baskets or they've given up, had to leave, and didn't go through their basket to find things. And the other thing is, like, if you make a friend that likes to do this, they can look for stuff for you and you can look for stuff for them. I used to see this team of ladies that went to this thrift store when I used to sell blue jeans on eBay. I would buy secondary market. It didn't matter what size. I just needed really clean ones, no holes, clean, all that. And so these ladies would shop for each other. And so at the end of the time, they would all get together and go, I got this for you, I got this for you. And they would swap. They knew each other well enough to know what each other liked. So if you have a friend that, look for me crafts and I'll look for you this and whatever they're looking for. So that's kind of a good thing too. So I hope you'll find one of these places. It's a real experience. And then you'll know what Queen City's doing when she's talking about all these wonderful little tidbits of things that she finds and reuses. You'll understand. You'll have been there. So thanks so much for viewing, and I hope you'll subscribe. And if you like content like this, because I like to go all over the place for products and craft supplies and things, so I'm always showing you something new. Thank you. Bye-bye.